It's Under the Lights on the CW. Brought to you by Dairy Queen, Alter Federal Credit Union, Heat 9 Associates, Palshay Chevrolet, and Alt Sudlink.
All right. Well, welcome into Under the Lights on the CW. I'm Tina Wynn, and this is Johnny Condon. And Johnny, week 10 of all this. Isn't it crazy how fast it all flies by?
It was a little chill in the air at 10 o'clock. We were telling you how it was a little nippy outside, and I'll tell you what, when the temperatures get lower, the games, the stakes, they're raised higher. We had a couple of big games tonight. Important games. Not that every game in East Texas isn't important, but when a team like Tyler Lee plays a team like Longview, that means something. When Whitehouse takes on Marshall at home for a chance to win
for the district title.
I mean, that means something. Out of all the games that were going on tonight, and again, we're going to jump in all the action. We got a full slate of show for you. But what's the one game that you were looking forward to this week covering, getting ready?
We just mentioned them. Longview, Tyler Lee, and then Marshall and Whitehouse. Both games, I mean, so much was on the line. So, and for me personally, going out to Longview, just seeing the fan base. I mean, I know they are passionate fans out there. So there's nothing like Texas high school football here in East Texas.
And obviously, they were taking to Twitter and Facebook earlier, because if we look at our poll of the week, who is going to win game of the week? Of course, our Reagan Roy there did a great job with the Texas Tech Raider looking thing over there for Robert E. Lee, the Red Raider, and then, of course, the Longview Lobo. We had over 200 votes in our poll. And yeah, if you check that out, the Lobos.
Yeah, that's kind of scary, Johnny.
They won by about a score of
happy belated Halloween.
88% to 12%. Again, every week, go to our Facebook page, KYTXCBS19. You can follow me on Twitter at Condensation. I will be retweeting it out. So let's get some interaction online, and you could pull for your favorite team, or even if you don't have a dog in the fight or a Lobo in the fight, you can
still vote.
Choose who's going to win. So, and speaking of our game of the week, Tina.
All right, let's get to it. Game of the week, big showdown against Kurt Traylor and his Red Raiders against the Longview Lobos. Senior night and emotional coach John King looks on as the scoreboard. Say player tribute to his players right there. Opening drive, coach's son, quarterback Haynes King says, "Pops, I got some more memories for you," as he finds Jalen Braden along on the sideline for 20 yards. And then later in the drive, it is King. He will hand this one off to Caden Meredith, who powers his way across the goal line for the touchdown. Lobos up 7-0, and that's when the defense took over. Longview's Drew Beltran, Sacks Lee's Trent Adams, and that's the Lobos' Joe Jones, Tyshawn Taylor swarming over Adams, and the Raiders' defense also got into the act as Devens Bolton and in Garfield Lawrence brings down King. Same score, second quarter. King is under pressure, but he spots open Braden, who takes the ball inside the 10-yard line. And then, just a few plays later, it is Haynes King again, the Texas A&M commit, passing to Philip Washington in the corner of the end zone for the touchdown. Longview 14-0, and that's how it stood at the half. Longview wins this one 49-7. Haynes King with 4 touchdown passes tonight, and Patrick Webb with 2 pick sixes. I mean, that Longview defense, man.
And obviously that was the billing going to the game. It was going to be that two-headed monster of Darrell and Jamarian Miller for the Tyler Lee Red Raiders taking on that ferocious defensive line for the Lobos. And they say... What were you going to say?
I mentioned earlier, I mean, both of these teams coming in tonight, they run the ball really well. I mean, they both combine for over 4,000 yards. So, I mean, we knew we were going to see a ton happening on the ground right there.
And the old adage, offense sells tickets, defense wins championships. No doubt about it that John King's defense is up for the challenge. And
they're looking for another one.
No surprise if they're going back to Jerry World this year for the 6A Division II state title game. You can almost pencil them in there. Not to jinx them or anything. But there was another big game tonight. So let's head to the Rose City. Now we're the John Tyler Lions. Well, they're ready to roar at home against the Mesquite Poteet Pirates. And these Pirates, they came a-plundering tonight. Both these teams have some of the sleekest looking helmets in all of Texas. Check out that pirate look right there. And then, of course, John Tyler never to be outdone when it comes to the fashion department. After a Pirate 3-and-out to start the game, Stephen Fink is going to punt. I'm going to show you a punt. That means something crazy happened. Bumbled on the play. Mesquite Poteet will fall on the fumble, and they got themselves some great field position, and they would take advantage of it. Quarterback Taylor Griffin buying some time in the pocket, then going up top for John Graham, who makes the catch in the south end zone, gets behind the safeties, and the Poteet Pirates strike first on the road. Extra point would make it 7-0. John Tyler, they would respond on the next possession. Little RPO action over to Cameron Medlock, the 5'8" 170-pound junior Scatback makes the nice catch for the Lions first down. But this play would pretty much sum up the night for the Lions. Fumble on the ground. It pinballs around. Poteet falls on it, and they'd force the second John Tyler turnover of the first quarter. They come on the road, and they get a huge win over John Tyler by a score of 37-14. Well, we had another huge district showdown tonight when the Marshall Mavericks took the short trip west to Whitehouse to take on head coach Marcus Gold and his Whitehouse Wildcats. And our own Tim Wolf was out at Wildcat Stadium for the de facto district title game. Tim, what was going on? Marshall on the read option. He's been doing that all season long. Later, it was more Marshall. Check out Williams here. He makes that catch on the quick slant, and he's going to do the rest with his feet. This is pure grit and determination. These are the games where your names are remembered. Legends are born in these district championship games. And, of course, the Marshall Mavericks, they wanted to come on the road and make a statement. Of course, dropping their first 2 games of the year, they lose their starter quarterback. And they have rallied like maybe no team in all of East Texas. And it's thanks in large part to that man right there, Sevion Williams. He's in for the touchdown on another read option. And when this one was final over, it was the Marshall Mavericks. They won this one big by a score of 35-8.
All right, Johnny, Marshall and Whitehouse. For one thing, Marshall getting a big win tonight, so they're now on a 2-game win streak. But, when you look at them, you mentioned a while ago at the beginning of this season, I mean, they lost 3 games and now they just claimed the district title. I mean, how do you think they'll do in the playoffs?
Well, something I'll tell you right now is they're going into the playoffs and nothing is going to faze this team for the sheer purpose of they've been through the gauntlet. They've been through the ringer. They lost a classmate. I mean, they lost their quarterback to start the year.
And props to head coach Jake Greedle, too, for this is his first year, so props to him for handling all this so much.
The road is sometimes rocky, but at the end of the day, if you're able to stick through it, and I'll tell you, it says so much more about a team that can fight through adversity. Absolutely. When everything's going great and wonderful and everything's sunshines and roses and everything, it's great. You can be a top, you can be a front runner. When things go bad and you fight through it, that absolutely shows you what's going on. So we got some more great East Texas high school football action tonight. What else we got on the way? Let's check out Grace Prep taking on All Saints. And it was a game that unfortunately never, ever started because the Grace Prep bus was broken down on the way to the stadium. I made my way over to All Saints, one of the most beautiful campuses here in East Texas, and that's as much action as we'd see on the field tonight. They would start late at 9:15. Again, we don't have a camera crew out there because we got to come back and make this wonderful show happen. So again, we'll make sure to get you that score and what went down over between Grace Preps and All Saints. Again, tomorrow you can join me on the CBS 19 News at 10. I will have all the coverage from that one. Tina?
All right, let's check in on Spring Hill and Pleasant Grove in 4A Division II second quarter. Pleasant Grove's Nick Martin gets the call to run the ball up the middle and right in for the score. It is 35-7. Pleasant Grove, he's reaching right there, and he's got it. And then, just as Spring Hill, they are hoping to get things going, and they are hoping to get on the board as well. Gage White is picked off by Pleasant Grove for the interception. And then, he is actually picked up, Spring Hill goes on to score, and they are trying to make a comeback in this one. Pleasant Grove leading 42-7. And Spring Hill goes on to drop this one 63-21.
Well, how about those Hawks? I'll tell you something right now. Spring Hill, Gage White, as competitive as any quarterback as we have in East Texas.
He was our player of the week at one point as well.
Of course. Nonetheless, the Spring Hill Panthers, they fall to Pleasant Grove by a score of 63-21. And don't go anywhere now because we're going to just get started here on Under the Lights. We're going to have much more East Texas high school football action right after the break.
All right, welcome back to Under the Lights. I'm Tina Nguyen. Well, it just happens to be a heavy Whitehouse week here on the show. Earlier this week, we introduced to you our Week 10 East Texas Professional Credit Union Player of the Week, senior quarterback Caden Casey. We discussed the Wildcats district championship game that took place tonight against the Marshall Mavericks. And tonight, it's time to hear from our Week 10 Whataburger Coach of the Week, Whitehouse head coach Marcus Gold.
It's a town located just southeast of Tyler. It's the place that built the 2018 NFL MVP, Patrick Mahomes. It's also the place where Marcus Gold looks to make his impact. In fact, in his first season as the head coach, Gold led his team to the most wins since Mahomes' senior season.
They told me after the season, so we hadn't won 7 games since Patrick Mahomes, which is anytime you're being compared to Patrick Mahomes and the coaches that coached him when he was here, it's always a good feeling, a good thing.
For the Dallas native, it was one experience of the maroon and white that left a lasting impression.
Yeah, I tell this story all the time. I didn't know anything about Whitehouse, and I was coaching in Wiley East, and we played Whitehouse in the playoffs, and we played them in Garland, which is 10 minutes down the street, and the Whitehouse brought 4 times as many fans as we did to that ball game. It's an unbelievable community. Mr. Minch and the band, if you feel that it's like a college environment on those Friday nights.
In his second year as the head coach, Gold has quickly learned to embrace the unexpected.
We're talking about the other day that we've been involved in 7 games in the last 2 years where it came down to the last drive, and we've come out with 6 of those victories. And you know, it's sometimes it's about being calm and collect on the sideline. And you watch us on the sideline, I don't think that's what you get, but you know, it's been exciting, it's been fun, it's been a fun group of kids to coach here at Whitehouse, and that's why I came from Dallas in the first place.
With an unbeaten record in district, it's the ability to be resilient that's proven their success.
Nobody's going to tell them that they can't accomplish something, and they've always attacked practice with some energy, and they've learned from those losses, they've learned from those wins, and with a team that doesn't have a lot of experience at the varsity level on Friday nights, I think that they've really been able to gain experience every week with those wins or losses.
For Whataburger Coach of the Week, I'm Tina Wynn.
All right, Johnny, so we talked about Marshall and Whitehouse earlier. Now,
Yes.
Talked
about it all week.
Yes, prior to this matchup tonight, the last time they played each other, Whitehouse won 53-3. The quarterback passed for 5 touchdowns. Do you know who that is?
Oh, I think
Can
I
you
know
take
who
a
that
wild
is.
guess who the White House quarterback
Might be
is?
the reigning NFL MVP and the current quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, am I right?
Yes,
Yeah.
you were very right. So that's your fun fact for the day.
Absolutely. And I'll say one thing right now about Coach Marcus Gold.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the younger coaches in East Texas, one of the more innovative coaches, what he's able to do with that offense on a week-in, week-out basis. Maybe we weren't able to see it tonight, but again, just because they're not going to win District 9-5A Division II doesn't mean they're going to be void of a playoff opportunity. I expect to see them there and make noise once
Well,
they
at the
get in.
beginning of the season, I mean, he told me last week when I talked to him, you know, a lot of people kind of picked them to be like, what, 6th or 7th in district.
And
he
it
said,
didn't start off so great for them
Right.
either, but they were able to rebound. They hit that adversity we were talking about
Yes.
earlier. A lot like Marshall. Their seasons were kind of mirror images going into tonight, and then obviously they took a big step back, and Marshall took a huge step
And
forward.
one thing Coach Gold told me that he just really loves the resiliency of his team. So it's been on full display this whole season.
And I like the resiliency of you, Tina Wynn, because you're going to transition to our next game
All right,
of the week.
let's get to it. We check in on Winsboro and West Rusk. West Rusk looking to rebound after coming off a tough loss against Mineola last week. First quarter, Gavin Smith will hand it off to Tyrell Morris. He will get the short gain. 4 minutes left in the first quarter, still scoreless. It's Carson Martin under center now, and he will hand it off to Talon Winnings. He'll roll right and is taken down near midfield moments later. Jimmy Harper under center now, and he will hit Jalen Shelton for a beautiful pass, and he'll find the end zone. West Rusk scores first 7-0, and this was a close one, actually. West Rusk wins it 37-33.
Let's head down to Tiger Stadium tonight when Winona was taking on Troop. In Winona, they might have some pretty sleek jerseys, but they haven't been too good this year. Here is a bad interception. It's going to be picked off by the junior number 4 safety, Braden Vess. He's got some of the best hair, looking like Chase Winovich, Clay Matthews. Nonetheless, he's out all the way to the left. Huge play, and a couple plays later, 2 fakes at the end around. Quarterback Jordan Elliott doing his best Johnny Manziel impression, and he's going to find the sophomore Trevor Padilla, who will walk into the end zone. This one was not close all night long, and the Troop Tigers, they get a huge win by the score of 52-zippity-doo-dah-day. Now let's check in on Henderson and Carthage. Fun fact, the Lions have never beat the Bulldogs with Phil Castle at the helm, and it didn't look like it was going to start tonight. Bulldogs starting hot. Kai Horton with a long pass to Kel Williams. He makes the catch inside the 5. That Lions defense now forces a field goal. Bulldogs bite first 3-0. Lions quarterback Caleb Medford on the move. The ball comes out. Everyone's trying to get their hands on it, but it's Mason Bobo who picks it up, and he's going to take this thing to a house, a scoop and score for the Bobo. But a flag is down with a touchdown. However, it would stand. Later, it is more Carthage. Horton hands it off to Calvante Dixon. He runs it to the corner of the end zone, almost untouched. The soon-to-be Arkansas Razorback is in for the touchdown. Can't believe that score. Bulldogs up 17-0. Medford to Kevin Fields. Fields forces his way past the goal line. Lions finally on the board. Horton looking for Dixon again, and he is going to find him with a catch inside the 20. 2 plays later, Horton finds a what? More like Horton finds Williams in the end zone for another touchdown. Look at the little fade route. A thing of beauty. And this is a rivalry game that's hard to call a rivalry game because it's been so dominant in the past. This final, Carthage 34, Henderson 14.
All right, now we got to check in on Sabine and Gladewater. Sabine looking to stay undefeated tonight. Check out those uniforms right there. All right, Gladewater, first drive of the game. Quarterback Tristan Holmes finds Jalen Robertson in the end zone. It's 7-0 Gladewater, and then Sabine's up next as quarterback Landon McKinney looks, throws it up, and Gladewater's Landon Ellis comes up with the pick. Gladewater gets it back, and it's quarterback Tristan Holmes stepping back, looks downfield, and airs this one out as he hits his receiver DJ Allen, snagging this one on 2 defenders. Bears up 14-0, and then Sabine quarterback Landon McKinney trying to get back in, rolls to the left and finds his receivers, but it pops off his hand, and DJ Allen with another pick. And Gladewater running off with this one, a final score of 40-16.
And, Tina and a couple of our other sportscasters that are around here, we like to talk in the office before some of these games, and we like to make predictions. And
okay.
Someone at this desk is Nostradamus over here. I
right,
had the
Johnny.
Gladewater Bears and an upset. But, what else is an upset? Earlier, we weren't able to hear from Tim Wolf because of the world of technical difficulties. But we have so many hardworking people behind the scenes. So now, let's go back out to Whitehouse where Tim Wolf was catching up with the new 9-5A district champs.
Yeah, hey there, Johnny and Tina. I cannot feel my hands right now, and I think it's because I'm still feeling the effects of whatever the Marshall defense used to slow down the Whitehouse offense tonight. Now, in pregame, we talked about the importance of quarterback play tonight and how it could contribute to this game. And tonight, Marshall quarterback Savion Williams could not be stopped. Right out of the gate on the very first drive, Savion Williams opened up the scoring with a read option for a touchdown. That would make it 7-0 Mavs, and the Mavs would play from ahead for the rest of the game. Later on, we're now in the second quarter, and the Mavs will get their second score of the game. That's on this touchdown run by Joe Jordan. That makes it 14-0 Marshall. Now, Savion Williams wasn't done for the first half. Here's another read option that he takes all the way to the house. He says, see you later. That's 21-0 Marshall. They'll lead at the half 21-0. Second half now, same game, same story. Read option up the gut. That's Savion Williams for another touchdown. That would be his third for number 3 there. Eventually, he would have 4 on the way to a 35-8 victory. Now, here's a look at what the Whitehouse offense had to deal with on the other side of the ball. That Marshall defense was coming hard all night long, and they never let up. Now, I know Williams had 4 rushing touchdowns, but you almost have to be more impressed by the Mavericks' defensive showing. They absolutely blanketed the Wildcats tonight. And with a Pine Tree loss, the Mavericks are district champions. In Whitehouse, Tim Wolf, CBS 19.
Awesome stuff from there. Thanks, Tim. Of course, we've got plenty of more highlights for you, so don't go anywhere. Stay with us.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Under the Lights here on the CW. Well, since we started our Player of the Week segment this season, I've been privileged to have the opportunity to travel around East Texas and speak to some of the best young athletes our communities have to offer. And I've been impressed with them just as much off the field as I have been watching them on it. This week's winner is a testament to the belief that patience is a virtue, and after waiting in the wings and buying his time, senior Whitehouse quarterback Caden Casey is making the most of his opportunity. And he's our Week 10 East Texas Professional Credit Union Player of the Week.
When you play quarterback for the Whitehouse Wildcats, you have some lofty expectations to live up to. The school that produced the reigning NFL MVP has also produced a 6-2 football team this season. And those 6 wins are in thanks in large part to quarterback Caden Casey, who at the beginning of the season had to earn his teammates' trust as a first-year starter.
The very beginning, 2 days, I feel like it kind of took me a little bit, but once once the season started and we got rolling, I think they kind of jumped on board and realized I can do it.
Well, me and Coach Lev talked a lot at the beginning of the year, and we talked about Caden and how a lack of experience that he's had at the varsity level, and it's been kind of impressive to watch how he's grown every single week and how much confidence he has going into this district championship game. And I think he's gained that confidence because of the guys around him. He's learned to trust his receivers to make big catches, his offensive line to be able to block, and now he's walking out there with a different type of attitude.
And all that skill and ability was on full display Friday night when the senior field general helped his team stay unbeaten in district play with a 50-36 win over Pine Tree. Casey rushed for 271 yards and 4 touchdowns on 28 carries and passed for 129 yards and a touchdown through the air.
Oh, I just following my line behind those blockers, and then once I got past them, there's no second line of defense, so I was just off to the races, and I was just trusting my O-line, trusting the plays, and just taking advantage of them.
He just has a very mellow attitude. You know, he's never too high, he's never too low, and that type of character kind of travels throughout the entire team. Whenever we score big touchdowns, whenever there's a sudden change situation that may not go in our favor, we never, we face adversity head on, and that's something that he's done throughout this season.
And something else he's been able to do this year is solidify himself as one of the best dual-threat quarterbacks in all of East Texas. Rather if by ground or by air, Casey has excelled at being multi-dimensional all season long.
Oh, it is pretty fun. I mean, you never know like which games if you're going to throw a lot or run a lot, so it doesn't really matter to me. Whenever the routes are open, I mean, I can throw, but when it breaks down or if I get quarterback runs, I just do my thing and I just run or throw. It doesn't really matter to me.
Ever since he's been in 9th grade, we knew he had the ability with his feet and with his arm to be a dual-threat quarterback, and just being in the system for a couple years has really allowed him to establish that type of quarterback.
And with all the success he's had this season, he'll need to play a near-perfect game this Friday night as Whitehouse takes on Marshall for the 9-5A Division II District Championship, a game Casey relishes the opportunity to play in.
Oh, they're gonna be good. They're gonna be bigger, faster, stronger than us, but we're gonna put in the better preparation than them. We're gonna show it out on Friday.
Thank you so much there for that wonderful story. Now we have an awesome game between Cushing and Union Grove. And early on, it was Cushing who was not finding it out. Union Grove, Scotty LeManson, those Lions making short work of this game. Cushing, I'll tell you, they've struggled all season long. But here, one of the biggest plays they've had all game. This is going to be Asa Dawson, hands off to Reed Allen. He's off for the races, makes a few guys miss, still going. Then he's taken down by Davis Harrison. Later, 45-yard pickup after that. Dawson looking to capitalize, and he launches that straight to Union Hill defensive back Adam Hansen for the INT. Union Grove just crushes Cushing by a score of 40-0.
And the Grays Cougars, they are hosting Trinity Christian tonight. Cougars trail 14-0 in the first quarter. It's linebacker Jacob Pena with the sack, and Grays sure is fired up for that one. However, next play, Sheeter Sanders, the son of primetime Deion Sanders, will find Charles Thompson for the touchdown. Trinity Christian up 21-0 right here, still in the first quarter. Cougars trying to get something going, but they would fumble the football as Trinity Christian comes up with the easy recovery. 4:17 to go in the first quarter. Sanders will hit Roderick Weaver this time for the touchdown. Trinity Christian takes a 27-0 lead, and they would go on. They're going to go back home with a win, 56-7.
And don't go anywhere, because after the break, we'll take a look at some more scores from across East Texas. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Under the Lights on the CW. Hey everybody, welcome back to Under the Lights. Now it's time for a little bit of a speed round. Let's go through some of the best scores from across East Texas tonight. Brook Hill, it says there's no score there, but we have plugs in the area, and we know that Brook Hill won by a score of 38-6. Lufkin, they blanked Kearney Creek by a score of 58-0 as we're moving on. How about the Lindale Eagles? They take down the Pine Tree Pirates by a score of 49-22. Mount Pleasant and Jacksonville, Indians were home at the Tomato Bowl, but they fall by a score of 33-27.
All right, let's check in on Malbec and Athens. And Athens going back with a win 40-21. And then Chapel Hill and Van 55-27 right there.
Kilgore and Palestine. Palestine gets a big win over Kilgore. A little bit of upset there, 21-7. Pittsburgh, Liberty Ilo, 30-6. And if we get our final scores of the night, Bullard, they fall by a point to Brownsboro, 35-34. And Russ, they beat Canton, 12-17. A couple seconds left. Final reactions from tonight.
Marshall and Whitehouse. Marshall going back with the win. So now they're winning the district title.
I'm taking the Longview Lobos. They are unstoppable. Pencil them into the state championship game. They're going to be there. Tyler, at least as good of a team as we have in East Texas. The Lobos, they roll them. We'll see you next week. Same place, same time. Goodbye, everybody.